I could always remember my very first art lesson. Little third grade me wanted to travel the world and make art. At the time of my very first lesson, I was very disappointed because my best friend and the rest of the class were busy working on ornate Pisanki eggs. Miss Kuhn, my very first art teacher, was trying to teach me the basics of art so that I could pass the Gifted and Talented Arts program. She first asked me to draw a house. A simple request, really. And like any child, I drew the classic square house with a triangle roof. She left me alone for a while, so continued by adding a sun, a line for the ground, a tall tree, and a simple stick figure to represent myself. Miss Kuhn sat down with me and made tiny little suggestions. Move the horizon line up, add lines to the house for perspective, add clothes to the stick figure for some personality. After following her suggestions, my drawings were completely new, and I couldn't believe that I'd drawn it with my own hands. She had the patience and guidance that unlocked a whole new world for me. Eventually, I transferred schools, and I was introduced to Miss Gibson, a tall, sweet woman who was exactly how you'd imagine an elementary art teacher look. I spent 2.5 years learning from her, and in my very last year, she nominated me for an art show organized by our school district. It was a great experience that strengthened both my passion and confidence in art. I started middle school with so much potential for developing my skills and creativity. Art class was now every day, instead of just once a week. And then I met him, Mr. Vogel. He made it clear on the very first day that he was not an artist and would not help us with anything. For all 3 years of middle school, my art education consisted of free drawing and YouTube tutorials. Most students were big fans of his class, but I fear it stunted my growth as an artist. In high school, I was finally given a proper art lesson. Mr. Prince was a traditionalist who focused heavily on studying the human form. He hated anime artists with a passion and made that very clear. I have to admit, I did learn a lot from him. I learned about many famous artists and their histories. I learned how to properly critique art and interpret artworks. Although he wasn't very well liked by most students, he still managed to teach me a lot, despite his rigid methods. During my senior year, I was briefly given a reprieve from Mr. Prince. I was facing Mr. Anderson's class, and he must have been fresh out of grad school because it was his first year teaching. He structured his class exactly how I'd want to structure mine. He told us that for half the semester he would focus on skill-building projects, and for the second half we could propose and create whatever we wanted. He said no matter what we chose, he would help us to learn to make it. Sadly, Mr. Prince demanded that the office change my schedule and place me back in his class as I learned from him every year before. Despite that setback, Mr. Anderson made an immense impact on my life. He would regularly pull me out of class to ask my opinion on his own work and would offer genuine feedback on mine. So, when it comes to why I want to be an art teacher, I'd have to say it's because of my own art teachers. I would be nowhere without everything I've learned from each of them, the good and the bad. I believe the future of art depends on passionate people who care about young artists, and I want to be that person.